Hi there. My name's Jackie Murray. Today we're going to be talking about quick writes in your classroom. These are great projects. For teaching writing, there's nothing better than to just do it spontaneously because that's what really tests how well the student is learning to write and helps them enjoy it rather than say, okay, we're writing a book report, get ready, write your draft, do all this, yada, yada, and it's stressful. This is just sitting down, using skills they've learned and writing. But we're going to do it a different way. We're going to do it with lots of variety. So students will, if they love writing, they'll find something they like. If they're not so hot about writing, but they love communicating, they'll find a different way to get the ideas across. They're going to have lots of options, and they're going to learn a lot about not only writing, but problem solving, creative thinking, reading closely, working with a neighbor, all those really good skills that are necessary in education today. Okay, I have been a K-8 teacher for 15 years. I've been a teacher from early childhood education through college for about 30 years. Long time. Very much enjoy it. I love teaching. I hope that comes through in the videos. You can always ask me any questions. You can put them right on our stream. You can email me at askatechteacher@gmail.com. I'm very reachable. So ask questions, because I know sometimes the way I explain it isn't the way you hear it. That's what communication is all about. Writing is all about. So it works very well for us here. I want to remind you that every lesson you teach in school, it's not about saying, okay, we're going to learn technology today. We're going to learn music today. I know the music teachers don't want to hear that. But we want to blend everything in education. It's so easy with technology. I know it's a lot harder with music. PE, probably it's harder. Spanish class, maybe it's harder. Although my mind keeps coming up with ways to make all those work. Technology, it just isn't hard. You have to just be open to it. No, okay, I'm teaching history and it's better done using technology. So that's what we want to do today. Writing. Wherever writing blends into your curriculum, that's where technology can blend into your curriculum and make it more fun, more challenging, more interesting for students, more effective. So that's what these digital quick writes are. If you do journaling in your classroom, it's similar to that. But have you noticed in journaling, you say, okay, we're going to write about this topic now, and everyone pulls their journal out and they write, and you don't grade them on it. And maybe if you peek in their journals, you see they're not working very hard at it, or maybe they are. And it's always kind of the same because you're trying to reinforce the idea of writing and get used to it and do it. Well, what we do in quick writes is it's reinforcing that writing, but it's giving them lots of options for how to do that. So they don't always say, okay, I'm going to have to write with a paper and pencil in my hands sort of day, and I'm not a good handwriter, and it takes me a long time to get it from my brain to the paper, and all those problems. How do I spell that word? In quick writes, we give them a variety of options. So they're thinking about what they're going to write about, but they're also figuring the best way to communicate that idea. It's not, I have to do it with paper and pencil. It's, I have choices. Now, at first, you're going to have a whole bunch of choices where they can do it writing, drawing, talking, whatever works. But you'll have to start out by saying, today we're all going to use Voki, which is audio. They have to so that they try these. They might not try them otherwise. So everyone's going to do Voki together for 15 minutes. And everyone's going to do Tellagami for 15 minutes. Everyone's going to do make a comic. But then you're going to let them choose. Once you've gotten through those, you've got 35 weeks of school. You're going to get through 5 or 6, 10 at the most. options for quick writes. And then you're going to start saying, pick one that works for you. Even if it's brand new, they're going to have tried enough options in quick write that they know, okay, I look up there, I found the toolbar, I look down that side and there's some more tools there I can use, and okay, I'm all done. How do I save it? Oh yeah, I did it this way sometime in the past, so I'll try it this way again. They're going to start making connections, learning by experience, thinking back to how it was done before. These are the type of things that Common Core mathematical standards point out for their standards for mathematical practice, all the ways that you use problem solving and you solve a problem. These are the things they'll go through. Okay, I have to use this program I've never learned before, and teacher says she won't teach it to me. And what am I going to do? Okay, well, I guess I'll have to try the things that we've done in the past. I open it up. I ignore the stuff on the side. I'm looking for a start button, and go through it, because they're going to have enough examples of you working with them to feel comfortable at least trying it. But the good news is you're not going to assess them on how good their product is. You're going to assess them on how hard they work. This isn't a writing project. It's a learn to write project. So they aren't going to lose points because they couldn't get enough words on the paper because they were trying to figure out the program. Eventually they get past that. So you don't have to stress over that. It's the process, not the product. So when you're doing quick writes, first of all, a quick write is a short writing project, like your journals are, but they're not. They're beefier topics. You can relate quick writes to anything you're covering in class. You might relate it to a project they have coming up, to studying for a test, to a unit they're working on, to a science lab they just had, anything you want. And it's 10 to 15 minutes. That's all they do it for. Sometimes it's handwritten, sometimes it's other things. But it's a very quick communication of ideas. You want the student to get used to thinking, I'm going to do this quickly, but it's going to be substantive and effective. It doesn't mean 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, that's all I could get done, teacher, is those 10 words. No, you still have goals. The student has to think, this is what I have to get done. I only have 10 or 15 minutes. Get to work on it. Figure out how to do it that fast. It won't work the first time, but it will the fourth or fifth time, and it will get easier. You want students to realize writing. You want them to be able to write whenever they need it, not just because it's time to write. It's not a separate thing that they do. We don't sit down, okay, it's time to write. You write when you need it. So writing, you'll find that these quick writes can be done as blogs, as Twitter. If you have a class Twitter, you can do it as a Twitter, 140 characters. You've got, don't give them 10 minutes though. You'll have to give them a lot less. So 3 minutes to do your Twitter and comment on what others are saying. A discussion board, you put up a discussion board somewhere and you have the students respond to it. That's a quick write. They only have 10 or 15 minutes. They write their comment on the discussion board. They respond to their classmates. They're doing it quickly. They're learning how to meet deadlines as well as write effectively. They don't get to, in quick writes, they don't get to use slang and bad spelling and all this other stuff that tended to confuse journaling. We kind of let them get away with anything. We didn't grade it, so they thought they could get away with anything. We didn't look for good sentence structure. In quick writes, you want them to write well and quickly. Now, how you grade it is up to you. Like I said, it's process as more than product. In my classes, I really don't grade product because they're all formative. But you could make it a summative. And it's very reasonable to make it a summative. Okay, we've been doing quick writes for 3 months. Show me what you can do. This is a summative and this is your topic. And it's going to be very easy if you've been doing your quick writes correctly all along. So lots of ways they can do quick writes. I'm going to bring up blogs, cards. K through 2 has been doing a lot of cards. They're good with cards. They're very easy to make, and online tools make them, or Publisher, Microsoft Publisher has great cards, and there's other programs that do. So cards are great for digital quick writes. They get a couple minutes to decorate, but then the rest of the time is writing that card, the purpose of the card. It's a greeting. It's a thank you. It's whatever your goal is. Graphics, multimedia communication, which is your Voki and your Tellagami and your photo story, those different things where it's different methods. It's not just the writing, it's audio, visual, color, movement, all those things. Visual organizers even can be quick writes. Give them 10 to 15 minutes to you can put a website up that has a whole bunch of visual organizers. Now pick your visual here's your topic. Pick your visual organizer that communicates that topic. And then you have 10 to 15 minutes to get that idea across. Now it's not just going to be a central idea and ideas around it, or however your visual organizer does. And then an attractive style so the person wants to stop by and look at that. A visual organizer. They have a lot more going with them than just words, and lots of things do more than words. Words are only part of communication. Okay, so that's the digital quick write, is a very quick writing. You just quickly communicate your ideas and then you're done, you move on. We're going to go through some options, a couple options, but let me first go through your Common Core standards. If you're supposed to meet your Common Core standards, very easy to hit all of them with quick writes. And I wouldn't say you're going to set off a day and do a quick write to meet all the standards. You're going to come to your writing curriculum, and you're going to find out, okay, my writing curriculum today satisfies, I've got produce clear and coherent writing in which the development, organization, and style are appropriate to task, purpose, and audience. So maybe you're doing a play, and that's part of your curriculum to meet that Common Core standard. So maybe your quick write is writing some of the dialogue for that play, one scene's worth of communication back and forth between people, remembering to apply effective technique and task, purpose, and audience. Very important in Common Core that you speak, that your writing addresses task, purpose, audience, all those three things. You just make sure that happens. Anytime you write, you don't write for kindergartners unless that's who you're writing for. You don't use casual language with slang in it if you're writing a summary of a chapter you read on landforms. So you want students to understand task, purpose, audience all the time, anytime they write. That's interwoven. Quick writes are the same. You might say, our task today is this, our purpose is this, our audience is this. Right. So anytime you get to Common Core standards, your quick writes can be molded to satisfy them. If you do them once a week, you've got 35 weeks. So you want to shake things up, make it interesting for students. So you're going to write arguments to support claims and analysis of substantive topics and texts using valid reasoning and relevant sufficient audience. Your quick write that day might be an argument for a debate. Maybe you're discussing global warming and the students are going to write their argument in support of, in contradiction to, or contrary to. So that 10 or 15 minutes, that's all they get to write that. Think quickly, put your ideas down. And when they're done with the quick write, part of the process is to share it with a neighbor. See, did the neighbor actually understand what you're saying? Did they feel like you were talking to them if they're the audience? Did you use words they didn't understand, or were those explained in context? So those. That was writing anchor standard. That was the first anchor standard. The second, write informative, explanatory texts to explain and convey complex ideas. So maybe you're talking about carbon or chemicals in science, in doing a science lab about them, and the kids are then going to write that satisfies that one right there while they're practicing their writing skills. You don't have to set a separate time out for that. Write narratives to develop real or imagined experiences. Stories, kids love stories, so you're going to write a lot of stories in class, not as much probably as last year, but real or imagined characters, and in their quick write, they're going to write those. They're just going to do it faster than they think than they're used to thinking of journaling. Produce clear and coherent writing, in which we did that one. Develop and strengthen writing as needed by planning, revising, editing, rewriting, or trying a new approach. Now, quick writes, you don't revise, edit, and rewrite. You do work with a neighbor on it, so you'll get feedback, and you do try new approaches. The student who wrote, you might even have them do the same one topic 3 different ways. One that's written in a word processing program, one that they use Animoto and they create a slideshow about it, one that they use a comic creator and they create comics about it. It's all the same idea. Which is most effective? Which gets the idea? Which appeals to the audience, task, purpose, and audience the best? That would be a very valid approach to quick writes. Try one topic different ways. Okay, use technology, including the internet, to publish and produce writing, interact and collaborate with others. Blogs and wikis and discussion boards are all interacting, collaborating with others, and you're using a lot of online tools. It's digital quick writes, so they're all they're all using technology. A good portion of the ones we're going to talk about today are going to be online. Now, word processing programs aren't necessarily online. If you have MS Word, if you have Word for Apple, if you have Google Docs, though, are online. If you have OpenOffice, or if you have text, those are all downloadable software. This is something you want to cover with students before or somewhere as you're doing your quick writes. You want to bring up the difference between software and online tools. Students don't understand that until they do. So what is the difference? Ask them and see who knows that difference. Online tools or downloadable software. And then ask them, is Word, which of those is Word? Is it software or an online tool? And see if they understand those differences. Easy thing to do. Just throw that in and get them understanding technology. 2nd grade, you can do that. 1st grade, you can. Start them in 1st grade and ask them and see what happens. It is wonderful to ask students questions because you find out so much about how they think. You might be surprised what they put together, and then that informs how you're going to teach them because, oh, I see how they're thinking. So let me rephrase myself. Okay. Conduct short as well as more sustained research projects. So give them 5 minutes to research, not a lot. This is all about deadlines. Give them 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes to research this answer. So that means you better be a good researcher, nicely tied in if they've been working on research for projects. And then take 5 or 10 minutes to write the quick write. You've read the research, now quickly write. Whatever you read, it's not going to be wrong. You're going to be summarizing what you found out. But if you only found out a corner of the topic, then tell me, what is that corner? Don't try to say, I'm going to write about landforms and then only write about ponds, because that's all you had time to research. Okay, you only had time to research ponds, and maybe you only researched ponds in Maine. Are there any ponds in Maine? Ponds in Texas. I know there's a bunch down there. They call them lakes. So then that's your topic. Ponds in Texas. It's not landforms. So that's part of the test. Not the test. That's part of the quick write, is to know what you're writing about. Be able to distill it down to, okay, I researched for 5 minutes. This is all I found out, but that's okay because that's all I'm going to write about. Okay, so that's that one. So I don't know what number we're up to, but we've got 3 left. Gather relevant information. We talked about that. Draw evidence from literary and informational texts. Okay, so you might have them reference whatever they researched. You might have them quote a friend. You might have them have a conversation with a friend for one of the quick writes, 5 minutes, and then in the quick write, quote that friend. I talked to Joey today about his plans for this summer. Joey said, anything fun. You quoted him. Okay, so give him credit. So that could be one of the quick writes. Write routinely over extended time frames. Quick writes does that. That's what we're doing. The more students write, the better they get at it. So that's how you want to think about it. The more they write, the better they get at it. They're not going to start out great. They're going to just keep getting better and better. It's a different approach than teaching them different styles of writing, which you also need to do. But the approach with quick writes is the more you write, the better you get. That's the goal. So you may write on a variety of types of writing. Literary fiction, you may write essays, you may write 2-paragraph essay, you may, whatever you write, you may do those. But the goal is to write and get better at it. It's not to get perfect at the 5-paragraph essay. That's not the goal. That's a different goal for a different part of your curriculum, which quick writes will support. Do you see the difference? Okay. All right. So we want to look at some of these options we have for doing quick writes, which are very fun. I usually start the year out by doing word processing programs because that's what students are comfortable with. When they think of writing, they think of pulling the paper and pencil out, or maybe Word. So I'll start with Word, with OpenOffice, with Google Docs maybe, but that's not as easy as it sounds because second graders we start second graders on Word, but we probably don't start them on Google Docs. But your 5th graders, you could. And just have them do something in there. Pick the one that they're most comfortable with, and that's how they start their quick write. And then try another one, and then get them into some of these in the weeds sort, like text. How do you even do something in text? So I do it by going here on my desktop. I'm in my screen, so I'm going to go up here. There we go. You can, is it still there? And go to New and go to see all these options that come up. We could easily open our Word document from here. Journal document. Don't do that with kids until middle school, though. Publisher, and here's text. So this is where I like to open text. And there it is, and then you just double click it and it opens and you start typing. This is the simplest word processing program. So it's a very good one to show students because it's very effective. They don't get confused. They can just sit and write. And then there's a couple things here you can do. Not a lot. And then they can save. And that's what you want to do. So show them a couple word processing programs. A couple of them. Besides Word. And then you're going to move on to more things. Okay, I got to move this back here. So we did those, and then move on to some more. Writing. You could do the blogs, forums, discussion boards, Wikis. You could do those. If you have those going on already, this is a great time to do those, because that will help you teach students how to use their blog and their forums and their wikis and their discussion boards while you're doing your digital quick writes. So that's good. Probably a perfect time for them, because as much as you can blend together is what you want to do. That's what their life is about. Anytime they're doing something, they're blending. They're doing multiple things at once, well and effectively. And then you're going to start going to other writing tools like these. Like we have Comic Creator. This is a really, this takes a while to load, so I'm going to go over here where I have it loaded and bring it up. So this might be the 10th week, something like that. So you might still be where you're showing them how to do this. Okay, here's our toolbars up here. We're not touching anything up there. This is our screen. This tool gets bigger and smaller with things pointed out to them. This is a toolbar. This is a toolbar. It's the library toolbar. These are our layouts. So you pick a layout. How many scenes do we want? And then you start going through all of these. And when you put this little guy on here, you can make him bigger or smaller. You can turn him. Sometimes. Okay. So show them the basics of this tool and then let them use it. Then let them struggle through it. You go around the class, they can even work in pairs and help each other, but figure it out as they're going. If this is early in their online experience, they won't have as much point of reference for using these tools. So you're going to want to be very available to them. If this is later in their digital quick writes experience of using a variety of online tools, I'm probably going to say go for it. Go ahead and figure it out. With youngers, an option is to do it for 2 weeks in a row and do one first where you're helping them through it, the second one where, okay, let's do our digital quick write in this Comic Creator we used last week, and then just let them go. And their job is to transfer knowledge. What they learned last week, they're going to transfer it to this week, and they're going to do their digital quick write. So once you've gotten through the word processing type of programs, go into these other ones that use writing skills. They still have to learn their writing skills because they have to make a characters, plot, scenery, climax, conclusion. They have to do all the good parts to a story, or it might be 4 scenes about landforms, 4 different landforms here. So they still have to fit to what the topic is, but they're going to do it using a different approach that might appeal to them more. You don't know until you try it. Okay, so that's Comic Creator. Then there's, there's some really good writing tools that you can try and just have students, there we go. It walks them through writing a story. Storymaker is one of them. Make a story. There's 3 or 4 that are very good for that. And you for very young, once again, you might show it to them first, click the next button and go through it. For the older ones, just say, use your skills on decoding a website and go through this and have them figure out what to do. Okay, next. That's probably what I do, because what else am I going to do? Then it asks, and you go through this and you pick your type of story, and then you go through this and gee, that actually looks pretty easy. So that stress, that fear of, I can't do this, I won't know how to make this story work, when you force them to do it on their own, they find out, well, that's not so bad. I actually could figure that out on my own. And there's 3 or 4 like that I have. get writing or make a story, story maker, and there's one other. I forget which one it is. Zoo Burst is a very nice one like that for younger kids. Pop-up stories. I think, oh, is it an app? Okay. And we're going to get to apps where there's certain ones that you use only on your iPads. Okay, so Voki. Then you get into these like Voki and Tellagami, where you're going to create a talking person. And this is fine for second graders. And you can probably show them by doing it with them. Okay, what do you think I do? By now they've done enough of these tools. You're going to say, well, get started. That makes sense. And that didn't work at all because now we're not creating one. So we're going to go back and go to, oh, here's tabs up here. So that getting started didn't work. How about this create? And I think that's going to be it. There we go. It's opening up finally. So that's going to work a lot better for them. They change these things all the time too. Let me tell you something. They do change these sites a lot, and there are far too many sites for you to be able to learn them all and then practice all night and then come into school. Okay, I learned 10 tools last night, and it's always that 11th. So don't worry about it. You are smart enough. You have done enough tools that you're going to be able to look at this and figure it out. It doesn't matter that I clicked the wrong button first. What matters is I solved the problem after that. Okay, that didn't work, so now I'm going to do this, because the students are going to be the same way. They're going to remember what you did. So this does actually start to look more like what I'm used to. And then toolbars. You're used to toolbars. Cancel and publish. You're used to these categories. So then the students just create and make their Voki, but 10 to 15 minutes. So Vokis and Telagami is a really fun one. This is more almost three-dimensional because the Gami, which is what they call them, actually moves around on the screen and does body language while you're talking. But I think that it does it on, I think I can do this. Maybe it is only an iPad. So I'll have to think about mobile app. Sounds like it's only an app for our iPad, which is fine. Okay. Then we go, okay, so a fun one is Mad Libs. And this where you can write a story, probably have them do it in a group. And it's going to ask them for things like nouns and verbs and adjectives and places and stuff like that. So it teaches them that sort of stuff for what they're doing, and they write their story. So this is kind of fun to do as a 10 to 15 minute, as a quick write with a partner. It's a great one with a partner. So the wacky Mad Libs, wacky web tales, there's a whole bunch of topics. Okay, then you want to move from those type into something that uses more art, because you're going to have, we're still hopefully in our first 10 weeks, because you want to show them a couple of the art ones so that they can, I think the topic was a pretty good one. Yeah. So look at these. We're well into our online tools, so students will figure out how to use this. And here's our buttons. Here's our canvas. How do I use that? Another really nice one is Art.com, I think. Click any. So what do? Click anywhere. And then I start writing, drawing. So you have them read the toolbar. Here's another toolbar. Here's a toolbar up here. And then they start drawing. I like that one. All these art ones. Then you have sites like Kerpoof that I'm going to show you some of my samples here. So you have paint. A lot of kids are used to paint. And this comes free with Windows. So it's a very nice draw a picture, write something about it. Very good for a quick write. Draw a picture, and then you can add text about it. Kid Picks, Tux Paint, those are software. So point that out to them. Draw a picture, write some words with it, put some stamps and things there. This one, Kerpoof is a very nice site because it has a storybook function where you draw a picture and write the story right there. But really no different from what you do over here with Kid Picks. So it's just another alternative to a quick write, drawing a picture, writing a story. What we're doing here though is these are all, when I get down to these, they're all importantly that they're drawing and writing at this, both of them. It's not just writing, it's not writing and music and movement, it's drawing and writing. So that works perfect for certain groups of kids. Then we get into our iPad, and I strongly encourage you to do some of these on iPads. Here I have examples of Doodle and Screen Chomp. Sketch is a great one too. Bring a picture up and comment on it. So whatever quick write sort of apps you have on iPads, you will get their attention if we're all picking up our iPads today, and for quick writes we're using the iPad. Draw a picture and write something. Okay. So those are all these options. Then once they've gone through enough of these, say 10 to 12 weeks, then you just let them pick. But you don't let them pick the same tool too many weeks in a row. You decide, but a couple weeks in a row, because you don't want them getting in their comfort zone. You want them constantly out of their comfort zone, learning something new, making that, picking the project and trying something new part of their quick write. So everything's working there. So by the end of the year, they have a huge amount of experience communicating their thoughts in a wide variety of ways. They are comfortable doing it, whatever is thrown at them. And that's really what you're looking for. So you can tell them not more than two, the same one twice in a row, or you can give them groups and have them have to pick from a group. You can have a neighbor have to pick for them. You decide what works best for your group of students. And that is our quick writes. So questions, please feel free to leave a question on the stream and we'll talk about it as a group. I'd love to hear your thoughts on quick writes. How's journaling work for you? Do you still do journaling in your classroom? I think a lot of teachers still do. A lot of the people I talk to still do. So I'd just be curious what your comments are, your reactions to that are. All right, guys. Have a great week. I'll see you next weekend. Bye.